All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the OS Talk. Today is June 4th, 2015, and we are joined with Zach today. He is one of the top-ranked players in the Catch the Beat game mode. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today.
All right, we'll get right into this conversation, but first I do have to ask, real quick, just getting that out, how is the United States doing with their loss?
From what I can see, no one's really taking it that hard. We did our best and we lost, so we just accepted that.
Did you expect it to go like that?
No, I did not, but we had 3 players who could not make the match, unfortunately, so we were a little bit hindered.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but moving on to the actual interview here. I just wanted to get that out though, because I know like it was pretty big when I watched it. I was kind of crushed on the inside a little bit, but you know, things happen. Anyway, so our first question obviously is, what got you into OS and what brought you here?
I used to play another rhythm game called FFR, which stands for Flash Flash Revolution, and some of the friends I had on there played Osu, and it just looked like a fun game, so I downloaded it originally to play Taiko, but after trying Taiko for a few days and not really making much progress there, I found Catch the Beat and I started playing that some, and it was actually really fun, so I just started playing that more and more until that was my favorite mode.
You know, I bet somewhere Zetrot's got some really good facts about the FFR. So Zetrot, please do inform us.
About what now?
FFR.
FFR? Oh yeah, Flash Flash Revolution was an online rhythm game, somewhat kind of like how OS started up. And believe it or not, some of our beginning BAT members and staff members, not managers, I do apologize, were actually members of the FFR community as well. I myself did quite a few things there under a different name that I'm not going to go into because I got into a huge big falling out with Otaku Dream, and that was one of the Simfile pack things, and I basically wanted to rip Jubo's head off, but that's stuff for a completely different game and a different whole thing. But yeah, pretty much just really old stuff. Anyways, yeah, I guess FFR is kind of something we actually see a lot of OS players come from at some point, but it's not one of the main ones. Usually it's either YouTube or Elite Agents.
I've never heard of FFR, so...
It's literally just like Stepmania without having to download a program. It's Flash. It's made in Flash.
Somehow I just knew you'd have information about that one.
Yeah, usually. Okay, Zach, so aside from Flash Flash Revolution, have you actually played any other rhythm games outside of OS in that one?
I have actually played a good number of rhythm games. I've played DDR, Stepmania, O2 Jam, what else? Guitar Hero, Rock Band, that stuff.
Did
Sweet.
you ever?
Nice variety.
Yeah. Did you ever play Kira Kira Pop Princess on the DS?
I have never even heard of that.
It was not a great rhythm game.
Then why are you trying to ask us?
It doesn't sound like a good one.
Oh man.
Why would you want to know if we've played a bad rhythm game?
Because I was just curious, you know. I like there for a while. I had like a huge kick of just trying like every single rhythm game I could find. So, and the DS actually had a lot of them. One of the really good ones, though, I don't know how to actually pronounce it, but the best way to say it would be Band Brothers, and that was for the DS. And
did you play that really horrible Final Fantasy one?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually play that one. No, it was called Daigaso Band Brothers or something like that, and it was amazing. Like, because it was basically like a giant MIDI keyboard that you'd play with your DS buttons, and you could play like different songs. They had the Full Metal Alchemist theme, a few other things, all kinds of different stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, Zach, have you ever played any iOS rhythm games?
I haven't had a smartphone for very long, but I do play Citus on my phone.
That's cool. Have you ever looked into trying to get one of the Jubeat emulators or JukeBeat for your phone?
Jubeat does look sort of interesting, but one rhythm game I would really like to try is Sound Voltex.
Ooh.
I've heard good things about Sound Voltex, but I can't honestly say I've ever had the ability to play it. And
I doubt I'll ever be good at it, but I would definitely like to try it one day.
So, aside from playing in Taiko and stuff, because we can actually, move into it. Oh, well, hold on. Yeah, I guess I should answer on that too. Sorry about that. Are there any other rhythm games that you would like to try, though, that you just haven't been able to, aside from Sound Voltex?
Maybe Beatmania if I ever feel like paying for a controller.
Oh, man. I would not pay for one of those controllers.
Also, one game I forgot to mention is I actually used to play Taiko before Osu even existed. I played Taiko Drum Master for PlayStation 2 with the Taiko controller and everything.
With the Jimmy Neutron theme song?
Yes.
That's good shit. Oh, man.
As well as Michael Jackson singing ABC and Britney Spears.
Yeah, and oh god, the drum controller was so unresponsive. You had to beat the shit out of it. Like, it was ridiculous.
I still have the game, actually.
If you try to connect that together, just use a USB to PS2 plug-in, you can use that to get PS2 controllers to work on your computer. You can do that with Taiko too, and even get it to map to the Taiko controls on OS. But the actuator or the activator, the synth pad on it is so broken. I guess the emulation's not very good. So the pressure sensitivity, you literally have to punch the drum.
That sounds like fun.
Aware of that.
Yeah. It's not even.
Have you still trying the Elite Beat Agents or original games?
I remember I wanted to play Elite Beat Agents just when I heard about it for DS. This was also before I knew Osu even existed, but I never got the chance to try it out.
It was good fun.
It's a game you could legit get for $10 now, probably even cheaper if you found it at a GameStop bargain bin.
I'd probably look for it sometime.
Have fun with AR1.
Alright, so what initially got you into Catch the Beat?
Not much. One fun fact though is when I first started playing Osu, I was playing multiplayer with some of the friends that got me into it, and we tried Catch the Beat, and I honestly thought it was awful at first.
What changed your mind?
Well, I think it was just because I played a very badly converted map to start off with, and it just was not fun because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But then, a couple days later, I was just kind of bored, so I was just let's try Catch the Beat, and I just started playing some maps, and it actually turned out to be fun.
Yeah, there were a few badly converted maps, especially back in 09, 2010 and stuff like that.
I started playing February 2012.
Alright. Yeah, Zetron and I come from a dark time long before you and a lot of other people.
Was that before dashing existed?
Oh, this was before. Oh yeah, actually that, but as well as PP. Back when we were playing, it was score based.
Well, yeah, I actually joined before PP was a thing.
Oh, nice. But yeah, when I was still playing, there was no hyperdash. It was still a very much being tested, developed thing. A lot of people didn't like it. There was quite a big thing going on about that actually, but yeah. I think the converter maps have actually been a lot better lately though. They don't seem as bad.
Well, I think that's both true and false because there's just a lot more maps in general. There are still a lot of maps being ranked that convert very badly.
I think that's something that's going to be essentially just you can't fix that. I
Yeah.
think there'll always be just really bad converted maps for all three game modes. At the very least,
Hopefully-
you can actually have CTE specific map sets rankable now, so that's
Yeah,
something.
that's been nice. For the most part, at least.
Yeah, I would have greatly appreciated those when I was playing. What sort of maps do you like playing, like CTB wise?
Actually, not sure because I just kind of jump between all sorts of different maps. I'll play old maps, new maps, hard maps, easy maps.
So just whatever looks good?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sweet. Any CTB
recently-
maps you like that?
Recently, I've liked playing a lot of maps that give lots of ranked score because I'm going for rank 1 in score. But that's going to take a while to get to.
Yeah.
And in terms of maps I like, there are actually a lot of CTB maps I like. A lot of them are unranked, and some of them are ranked. Kind of hard to think of which ones are my favorite because I just a lot of maps I like.
Sweet. And what about, you said you played a bit of Taiko, but what about Off Standard and Mania? Have you tried any of those?
I've played a decent amount of Standard, and it's fun, but it's just not something I can play for very long. And Mania, since I've played other rhythm games very similar to it, I have experience in it, but at the same time, I'm still not all that great at it.
Yeah, Mania is quite a hard game mode to play. I think out of the four, it's probably one of the more annoying.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people don't like Mania, mostly because of the timing windows.
It's not the timing windows, it's just the dexterity and the amount of columns. Like, I could probably go down to 4K and be, doable, but that's kind of boring.
Well, my experience for Mania mostly comes from playing FFR, as that's 4 key.
Yeah, that would actually make sense.
And I've also played O2 Jam before, back when I was about 12 years old, and that was 7 key.
Yeah, you might be pretty good at Mania then. Have you actually tried how far did you get with Osmania?
Wait, what was that?
How far did you actually get with Osmania?
Not
Like,
very
did you play
far.
much at all, or?
I rarely play it, but from time to time when I am bored, I see what I can do still.
Cool. Also, going back to CTB, what did you think about the change from the old Ryuta to the current user?
Well, like a lot of other people, I honestly did not like Yuzu.
Any particular reason?
It just did not feel like a very great catcher to have. I don't know if it was because most people were just used to Ryuta or not, but when I tried using it, and it just did not feel right at all.
Who, wait, when, where, what now? So, I'm sorry, I had to step out for a second, so what's going on?
Zach doesn't like Yuzu.
Oh, my feels.
There was a lot of CTB outrage when Yuzu was put into the game.
So why exactly don't you like him if you don't mind me going into it? You might have already explained it, and I do apologize if you have, but...
I did explain it just a little bit, and it's just, I actually did play with Yuzu a little bit when he was first put in because I didn't have a up-to-date skin, and it just did not feel all that right to me.
He's actually been reworked and centered because Ryuta wasn't centered at all. Also, the dimensions for the longest time with CTB were actually incorrect with the plate, and that's probably what caused the most issue, is now the plate's the active area.
Well, I never actually played with Ryuta either. After a few days after playing Catch the Beat, I found my own custom skin to use, like most other players.
I actually quite like the Yuzu catcher.
He
I
actually
still
has.
use it, I think.
He actually has different plates and customizable options, but those were kind of removed last minute because he didn't want to have like a toggle for like plates. Because I wanted, the like original plate to be able to change colors. That way, people wouldn't have to go and make extra like skins and whatnot. Yes, Yuzu is a guy, and yes, Yuzu can be a guy name.
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
expect
sure
that to be a
Z-Truck
question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zedro gets really upset every time people get surprised by that.
Yeah, a little bit. I saw that in the chat. Sorry about that, Zach. So, anyways, is there anything you'd like to see changed with the design? Because I might be dropping a teaser here soon, but animation, like we've been talking about, I know I've said forever and ever that, oh hey, look, we're working on getting it animated, but now it's a much greater reality than it once was. So, do you think that would be something that just becomes too much more distracting, or what?
As long as it remains optional, I think it is perfectly fine. Like, toggling animations on and off.
Yeah.
And I think having animations for catchers would be a very interesting thing to have. Although, I would probably just stick with my custom catcher that I use.
Makes sense.
I think most people tend to stick with customized skin elements, so.
Yeah.
Alright. So, moving on from that a little bit, what actually got you started in the tournament scene, to say?
I just kind of like being in competitions. I would always compete in tournaments on FFR back when I played that game. When I played Rock Band actively, I always wanted to be in tournaments, but I could never find any nearby where I lived, so that was kind of a dead dream. But I've just always liked to be in tournaments for some sort of game, so after getting good at Catch the Beat and seeing that there were tournaments for that, I wanted to get involved in them and play in them.
And do you feel it was hard to get started in the tournament scene, or do you feel like the tournament staff and the people that helped you with your team, were they nice? Was the transition to getting into tournament play easy, or would you say it was difficult?
Getting into tournaments isn't hard at all. It's just the problem of waiting for tournaments because there are so few, and I've been in probably 3 or 4 tournaments in the past year that haven't even finished.
Yeah, that's actually something that's quite unfortunate. A lot of the non-staff held tournaments really seem to struggle to come to conclusion.
I think it's mostly to, the problem is probably organization.
Yeah, it's not nearly as easy as you'd think to organize a tournament. But another thing that kind of goes through on that is, at first it used to just be because the tools were non-accessible. It was just really hard to get a tournament to take together because it was really hard to manage it and move people in and out. But as the tools have advanced and stuff, and if people are actually serious about holding tournaments, those tools can be made available for them, and that does make things easier. But it still seems to be one of the things that happens is, like you said, scheduling seems to be one of the bigger issues.
Yeah, I think scheduling and also map selection seems to be the 2 biggest issues when it comes to organizing a tournament. Especially so for Catch the Beat, because you obviously can't use just CTB maps because there are still not enough for you to fill your entire tournament with them.
Yeah.
And you have to also know which converted maps are going to be best for players to play.
Mm-hmm. What would you say so far? Even an official and an unofficial, what would be your favorite tournament you've taken part in? You could even answer 2 of those if you'd like. If you have an unofficial one that you had a lot of fun with.
Well, honestly, this one has been fun because I've just been so involved with it, being part of the staff as well. And I also enjoyed the first World Cup I played in, which was the 2013 World Cup. Even though we only barely made it to round of 16, it was still a very fun like experience, and I enjoyed it very much.
Well, that's good. Saying as you took part in the 2013 tournament, how do you feel about the changes that have happened to the tournaments as of late over the years? Like, do you feel that the improvements are justified, or do you feel like it's still lacking in some areas?
I feel like most of the changes that have been made have been for the better. One thing that I see a lot of people don't like is the scheduling, how you are unable to reschedule any matches at all, which is understandably frustrating to people, but at that same time, changing it to a time that everyone would be okay with is also going to be extremely difficult, so it's just something that can't really be helped.
Yeah, back when we actually used to have to sit down captain to captain to figure out like when we'd do matches was rather frustrating at times, because it can actually be quite hard catching certain people, especially from different time zones.
Yeah,
I
which
feel like
is
having-
part of the issue for my matches. Was one of my players has a job and was unable to make most of the matches due to that.
Yeah, that's
I
a
feel like
bummer.
having set times is a good thing in a sense. I mean, it does simplify the entire process, but then there is instances, like we said, where it can interfere in rather irritating ways. I feel like if you're, this is probably going to sound a little bit harsh here, but I feel like if you're busy in the weekends, then it might not be the best idea getting involved in the tournaments, simply because of the fact there's no guarantee you'll be able to make them.
But I also feel that's why you're allowed to have, 6 players on your team, even though it's only a 3v3 tournament. So that way, not only can you have people with different skills in your team, but you can also have extra people in case someone is unable to make a match.
Yeah, it lets you fill in those gaps just in case unfortunate things do happen. All right, so you kind of touched base on this, but so you enjoyed the current Catch the Beat World Cup,
Yes, I did.
And what would you say was one of the highlights so far for you?
I'm honestly not quite sure what I would consider a highlight for it, really, because they're just, I don't know.
Were you able to
Which has been your
actually check
favorite- how
out
about-
some of the other matches aside from the ones that you played?
Well, I was able to obviously check out all the matches I commentated on, but aside from that, I wasn't able to really, as I was busy practicing during the matches that I wasn't even there for.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty fun for a World Cup, and I just enjoy being able to play against other players in a competitive environment.
Which was your favorite match so far?
It would probably have to be either the one versus Argentina or Russia. For
Yeah, the
like,
Russian
my
one
own
was pretty good
matches.
actually.
Yeah. Argentina is kind of iffy just because one reason I did so badly was because I was very tired that day and had trouble focusing. But the match against Russia was actually pretty exciting for me, just because we were all there playing our best, and they still gave us a run for our money.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason I can't find that match. Oh no, wait, there it is, 3-4. Yeah, that was pretty close actually, Jesus.
Yeah, they even beat us on both warm-up maps.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, the first one was close, but they took it because they just had a much better combo.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Anyway, since sadly you are now actually out of the tournament, are you actually rooting for anyone in the finals and grand finals?
I wouldn't say there's a team I'm specifically rooting for, but because just it's probably just that Korea is probably gonna win.
Yeah, they're definitely a crowd favorite. I think
China
all their matches-
is definitely able to compete with Korea, but most people are just thinking it's set that Korea will in fact win.
I think so far Korea only conceded 1 point, and that was against Netherlands.
That was actually 2 points.
2?
Yeah, Netherlands, they first tied Korea and then got a point and then another point.
I thought there was only 4-1.
Pretty sure it was 4-2. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Let's find out.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what the grand finals have in store for us.
Main reason I'm not particularly rooting for a certain team is just because I'm not friends with members from many of the teams that are still in, except for Spectator from Korea, but just, you know, I don't really converse with many of the players still in the tournament.
No, you were right, it was 4-2, I apologize. I actually thought it was 4-1, I thought they only lost 1 point. Whoops.
Alright, and that's actually going to wrap up our written interview. So you guys know what time it is now. We're going to move on to the community questions. If you have any questions you want to speak aloud, go ahead and send me a private message, and you can ask those questions to Zach at your leisure. We do have a few written questions already. I'm going to go through the first one real quick. The first one actually comes from King Kevin 30, and he asks, how do you feel about the addition of CTB specific map sets, and do you think their mapping style is heading in a good direction?
Having CTB map sets is probably one of the best things for PTP players in terms of just having ranked maps, just because we have maps specifically for the game mode. And in terms of what direction it's going in both a good and bad direction, because we are getting a lot of really good quality maps that people enjoy playing, but at the same time we've also gotten some maps that a lot of players just don't enjoy because some people feel as if the mappers are mapping songs rather intensely just for the sake of making them hard, and obviously people aren't going to want maps made just to be hard. They want maps made to be fun, and if they are hard as well, then, you know, that's just how it is.
Zedra, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Charles was here at one point, and we actually having a discussion about how the structure of mapping is going, and how a lot of people are trying to focus more on harder maps at this point in time.
Yes, most definitely, and that's something you'll continue to see, but what needs to happen isn't so much that maps need to tone it down as much as they just need to make sure that there's still consistency. I don't have a problem with crazy maps as long as the levels leading up to that level of crazy are reasonable. You know, if you want to have something that's just outright outlandish and ridiculous and just so hard to pass, at least leave a level building to that. I don't like to see marathon maps that are just outrageously hard. I don't think that's very fair to a player, especially if the song's very popular and stuff like that. But that's kind of a tangent I could get into, and that would take quite a while, so I'm not going to stick with that too much.
We'll leave that for another discussion, which we will probably end up actually having at one point, knowing us.
Alright, well, thank you so much for that question, King Kevin. We're going to move on to our first spoken question, and it's going to come from Drum. So I'm going to go ahead and give them talk power.
I've already done that.
Alright, there you go.
Hey, Drum.
Okay, so my question is, what was it like when you joined? I mean, like when you first started playing, what was the feeling?
I honestly can't remember just how it felt playing back when I first started very well, but, you know, it was just nice having something new to play, and since I've always liked Catch the Beat a lot, it was just, you know, fun playing whatever I could find that just was fun, and just improving however I could.
Were you very, like, community active when you started playing, or did it take a while before you started, like, socializing and stuff like that?
I was not very active in the community at all for probably the first year or so of playing. it wasn't exactly because I didn't or because I didn't like the community, because like a lot of other people, I think the community was actually better back then. It's just I didn't know anybody within the community myself, so I just didn't really feel like I could just put myself into it.
Yeah, I kind of understand that one. It took me quite a while to actually like get out there and talk to people in the community.
All right.
I don't think it took me like a year, but it did take a while.
It took me a year. I think it might just have something to do with Americans. We hide out for a year. That or just anybody with a username starting with a Z.
I was gonna say, well, Drum Drum was pretty active in this first year, so...
This is very true. Alright, but thank you for that question, Drum Drum.
You're welcome.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and move you down. And then we have a written question here. This was actually already kind of covered base on, but you could at least give your thoughts on it still. Domi, or however you pronounce it, asks, what do you think about the upcoming final for the Catch the Beat World Cup?
Honestly don't have a whole lot of thought on it right now, even though I'm going to be commentating on the matches, as I was busy with vacation over the last week, and even now that I've been back, I just wanted to take a break for a few days after being eliminated. I decided that before it even happened, that after we were done, I just wanted to take a break for a few days, which, that's what I've done. And so I haven't had much of a chance to look at a lot of what's going on lately, or like I've taken a look at the map pool, but I haven't like taken a very close look at it. So I don't have a whole lot of information to share on thoughts regarding the finals.
Map pool is gonna be so much fun, I can already tell.
Well, that's understandable, though. Alright, well, thank you for your question, Tommy, and we'll move on to another spoken question, and this one comes from True Noodle.
Hello.
Alright.
Okay. Do you believe in Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Just wanted
That
some
was
Bill
a beautiful
hype?
question.
Well, yeah, but I might be asking another one if I think of one. But,
Alright.
yeah, that's it for now.
Alright, well, we'll see you maybe here in a little bit.
Well, okay then.
Alright, and our next question comes from Sangarita.
I did
And-
not expect that.
This is actually a question from Storm, because I guess Storm wanted to ask it, but he didn't have a chance to, because he had to go. Why do you play HD only?
Well, when I first started playing, and probably for the first year or so, I was mostly a no-mod player, like a lot of other players, but probably about 3 or 4 months after I started playing, and just for an added challenge to push myself a little further, I liked playing AR9 maps that I struggled on, and I just added hidden to them to make them even more challenging, because I don't think there's really anybody who can just read hidden right off the bat and catch the beat. But I started playing with it more and more on a lot of the harder maps that I played, and as I played it just so much, I just pretty much adjusted to it to the point where I actually read it just as well as playing no mod, so I just started liking playing with hidden more often than no mod.
Out of curiosity, how long did it take you to kind of get a good feeling for playing with hidden?
I do feel like I got the feel for hidden a lot quicker than a lot of other players, but it still took me probably about 6, 7, maybe 8 months of playing it on and off to actually start enjoying it more than playing
Wow,
no
it took
mod.
that long?
Well, I didn't play just with hidden. I would just add it occasionally just to give myself a little bit of an added challenge.
Ah, yeah, when I kind of started learning to play hidden, I kind of forced it a bit, I guess you could say. Essentially what I did was I ended up playing... I picked a map and I just played it with hidden until I could pass it. And then I kept doing that again until I could full combo it.
Yeah,
and then I just keep going through map like that. And
I would do
by the
a
end of the
similar
week,
thing.
I was good.
I would add hidden and then give myself goals to reach on song, like a certain amount of score or certain accuracy and something like that, and just keep trying to build up to that point and then move on to something else.
Yeah, I actually had a little bit of hidden practice, at least for standard, because I played the Ostakade Oendan 2, which had hidden built into it. So I had already known the concept right when I started, so it made things a little bit easier for me. But in terms of hidden for Catch the Beat, I can't play the super hard difficulties, but when I do try to use it, it's hit or miss. Sometimes I get a really decent combo, and other times I just derp at like really simple places and just keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. Alright though, we're actually going to get another question here. This one's another one from King Kevin. So he wants to know, what are your thoughts of the changes to the PP system and how they've affected CTB over the years, with things like zero spinner PP maps and so on?
Well, let me gather my thoughts a bit. When PP was first implemented, obviously it was not that accurate at all, because just playing maps without that many people playing it, or playing zero spinner PP maps, it was just playing the right maps gave you all the PP you could get. And that is still somewhat of a case today, but all the changes that have been made to the PP system in regards to Catch the Beat have honestly made it a lot more accurate than it used to be, but it still is not as accurate as it can be, and it may never be, just because it's hard to gauge skill so accurately with just a number.
I can understand that.
I still remember back when we had the PPB1 where everyone would rush to go play the new maps because it would give them a lot of PV. And then by the end of the month everyone had figured out, well, why don't we just go play the really old maps instead? We're less likely to then lose the PP after we get it.
That's true.
And so you can see like all these like top players like playing maps from like 2009, 2008.
Yeah,
Kind of like when PPV2 was first implemented, everyone played Go Berserk.
Oh
yeah.
What? We actually have another question here from Tengu King that asks, do you have any plans for making your own tournament for Catch the Beat? And if so, will it be something like a 2v2?
I have been thinking about it, but I'm just waiting for a time when I honestly feel I have the motivation to keep it running the entire time. As if I did start one, I would obviously feel obligated to keep up with it and everything, and I probably would. It's just I don't really feel like I'm ready to host one myself currently. But in the future, I would like to at least host one tournament.
Looking forward to it.
Alright. It looks like True Noodle actually has something to say. Oh, wait, never mind. He says never mind now. So, never mind on that one. I guess he actually left, unfortunately. Okay, so Itzy asks, what do you think about OS Next and how it will affect lower-end PCs?
I honestly don't know a whole lot about OS Next. I've just seen like screenshots and small tidbits like everyone else has seen. And hopefully it is optimized in a way so that lower end PCs can actually still play properly, because obviously if those players with lower end PCs are unable to play anymore, that's going to really hurt the community for every single mode.
Well,
okay, I'm just gonna quickly weigh in here. So with the optimization thing, from what I can tell, OS has actually been pretty well optimized for quite a while. I think there might still be changes being made to make it more optimized. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think the changes when we get to the OS Next will be that impactful. The other thing I wanted to say is that we're actually having another discussion about OS Next coming up around end of June, start of July, so you guys can definitely look forward to that.
Aside from how it will affect other PCs, I am actually really excited to see when it is released, because From what I've seen so far, it actually looks really nice.
I can kind of put people a little bit at ease. Um, if you want to know, one of the things that has been recently changing over the course of the cutting edge build and the beta build, if you've been paying attention to those builds, is that the back end render has been changed completely to OpenGL. Now, before this used to be a big concern because OpenGL really hadn't been tightened up, and the only thing that OpenGL really did was allowed OS to run on lower end machines. Now, see, here's the thing. DirectX was actually set up as a back-end render to run it on other machines that couldn't run OpenGL at the time. But OpenGL just kind of never got developed on really heavy because DirectX was just easier to use and it had more options at that time. Now, with DirectX being kind of not needed anymore and all the libraries being switched, you'll notice that if you use a test build, transitions, stuff like frame rate, stuff like that, you don't need to close the client anymore to change those. They change automatically. Also, the lighting effects and stuff like that, the softening filters, are no longer nearly as graphically intensive as they used to be. There's still some hiccups, but that has more to do with the overall code and how everything loads up than it actually being PC spec related. So I'd like to say it's probably gonna, while making it look a bit better, there probably will be a little bit of GPU drag in terms of your CPU process and how well the game will render at bare bones with all the fancy stuff turned off. I think it's probably gonna run better, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think OpenGL has actually come quite a long way from when it was first implemented. Like, if you look at it from a year ago even, I think it still needed quite a bit of work, but it's come a long way.
Oh yeah, most definitely. All right, if anybody has any more questions, we'll take a little bit more time to look into those real quick. We might be wrapping this up in just a moment here, but if you have any more questions, feel free.
Yeah, for what it's worth, we're about 45 minutes. So.
All right, King Kevin wants to do a question, but he wants to speak at this time, which I have no problem with. Welcome to the OS Talk, King Kevin. You've only been here the entire time.
Welcome. Okay, so my general question is about the gameplay changes that we got for CDB over the years. Since like the biggest concern of most of the old players was when the hyperdash system was changed to get those pixel jumps that were almost impossible. So, what are your thoughts on that, Zach? Since like it pretty much affected anyone who even knew about the change, because many people just were like, oh, what? There was a change?
When there was first a change, I was actually notified about it by other players before I even played that day. So I didn't actually get to know whether or not I felt a change. But I honestly thought the change did a lot more good than it did harm. I understand how a lot of players were really upset about the change because while it did make some maps easier, like some nearly impossible maps became pretty much a cakewalk after the change. And then some maps honestly became harder, but I think overall it was a better change because it made more maps easier and more playable than it did make maps harder.
Yeah, but I kind of gotta agree with the chat going on in the chat room, because I was around during that time when the initial hyperdash was added in. It wasn't even the fact that they had refused to change. There were some people that had gotten so good that they could full combo these maps that you shouldn't be able to full combo. Like, they were like getting it down to the pixel perfect adjustments to where they'd be able to catch it just on the rim of the plate without having to have some kind of crazy mega hyperdash. And those people got really mad because Zorg, I guess it's Zorgdums? I don't know. Is saying here is they had to literally relearn how to play the game, and that's what.
Yeah. Since I was still somewhat of a new player, I had only been playing for maybe, I think, 8 months when the change was implemented. But you know, I I didn't have a massive play count either. So it didn't really take much for me to adjust to it. But I do know how a lot of players were extremely upset about it because they had just been playing so long the way it had always been, and then suddenly a huge change to the way the game played just in general just completely destroyed a lot of players.
Yeah.
Actually, I found a lot of the people that got angry, because like as we talked about, a lot of people got angry, but I found that quite surprising because I think I was talking to Dean, I think it was at the time, and he was saying that a lot of the players were actually testing this before it actually came out. So
Yeah, there were many players quitting, and like even in the feature request forum, there were like a ton of threads like, "Oh, change the freaking hyperdash system back."
Oh god, Bagno. Does anybody remember how much of a stink Bagno made about the whole thing?
why would you bring him up?
I've never even heard of him.
Good.
Because he was like the scourge of humanity there for a while in the community, and like I guess like he did make a really, really big thing about it. Like he even went as far as to like trying to get people to download older versions of the game and wanted to set up servers to it was really retarded.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Like, the guy-
never
look,
heard
for-
about that.
The guy didn't seem like a complete and utter idiot. He just kind of acted like one.
Yeah.
Like I seriously do think like a lot of the issues that came with the hyperdash system were blown way out of proportion. It, like as Edric kind of said, it was definitely something that was. It definitely did help the game a lot more than it hurt it.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason people weren't happy about it was just because, well, it kind of messed up how they played.
Exactly. They had to
I think-
relearn a game that they had spent so much time getting good at.
I think there were worse things happen in Oz, to be honest. Like, I think at one point, didn't the entire Tycho ranking system get redone and all the scores got reset?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't hear half much complaining when that happened.
Because people don't really mind score resets nearly as much as mechanic resets.
What was it back then when Tycho changed from a Osu mod to a real special mod? Or
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been like 2008.
oh, okay.
Or
And then
maybe
it got
so
reset
2009.
again after they decided to make it score more authentically like Tycho.
Okay.
And then it
also,
changed again. And, like, it changed a whole bunch.
Yeah, and also Zach, were you already there when they changed the normal fruits for the bananas?
Yeah, I actually was there. I remember when I first started playing, there were normal fruits, and I think the change to bananas was honestly one of the best things to come to Catch the Beat because
Can I just say right now? Thank you.
sometimes when playing a map, you couldn't even tell there was notes. There's actually one tag 4 map that I remember playing, and before bananas were implemented, I honestly didn't even know there were notes, like the first 5 notes even existed, just because they were in between all the spinners.
I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in one of the other talks or discussions. I have no idea which one. But the entire idea of the bananas came from a feature request, and the original request was actually someone asking to have like some sort of visual line or something separating the fruit from the spinners. And when I joined, there was like a page and a half or so of discussion. I said, well, why don't you just add another type of fruit? That would make a lot more sense, like a banana. And we got bananas.
So it was your choice that it's gonna be a banana?
Well, I kind of raised the idea of a banana just randomly, and then straight away someone was like, yes, we should rename spinners to Banana Time.
Oh, nice.
I think it was actually, was it Jarby? There
Oh,
was someone like around his kind of community area.
Yeah,
Might have been
Well,
DC, I don't
whoever
know.
brought up that idea of making it a new fruit, they did a good job.
Yeah, that was me. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I thought someone raised the idea of a different fruit, and you just thought.
No, I
why not
said
a
we should
banana?
why not a different fruit, like a
All
banana.
right. Well then, thank you for helping Catch the Beat become a better mode.
And you know what happened straight afterwards? Complaints!
I was about to say, you better get some kind of complaints. I give people a new updated catcher and I get yelled at. You say, give them bananas, and they're like, woo! Potassium!
Yeah, no, people did not. Why would you not like that change? There's literally no downside.
Oh well.
But no, they had to complain.
Yeah, there was also like the thing with hidden and hyperdashes that was fixed. Like, I think I don't even get what was wrong. Like, I think you could see the fruits when they were hyperdashes or their foreshadow or whatever it's called. I don't know.
You know, the funny thing about that is for the longest time, back when Kai mode was still being played out, the delay for the lighting on the Kai was so screwed up that you could totally see where every fruit was going to fall in a hidden map. So, and it's kind of like that now, but it's a little bit more delayed to where you can't really just find out where it's going to fall is easy.
Yeah, I noticed that as well, and I tried to avoid it.
Yeah.
And
But-
one thing I would like to bring up regarding gameplay changes is this hasn't ever been implemented, but I remember seeing a couple screenshots hinting that there was going to be a new thing on the results screen showing how many bananas you caught, but for some reason that seemed to completely die even though it was already done.
No, that was. I don't think that was ever an official screenshot. That was probably from the thread that I think it was Theo West created. He created a bunch of threads about result screens.
Well,
And
I
one
remember
of them-
seeing a screenshot straight from Milhior. And
probably
he
saw it from
posted
the
it
thread
in
then.
the Catch the Beat channel.
Maybe he took it from the thread. I don't know, but there was definitely a request for I think it was either spin bananas caught or spin a bonus. Might have been the bananas caught. But that
Well,
was
it's not
definitely a thread
something
request.
required. I think that would be one thing a lot of players would definitely enjoy seeing because just know how many you caught and it would just
and just
be a nice feature in general.
And just in pure score value, like spinners are quite important for CDB, even if many people don't realize it.
Oh, they're incredibly important. Like, for those of you who don't actually realize how important it is, I've seen people outscore a double S with a D.
Oh yeah, that's fast. I already can tell you that's fast. That's a Korean guy. he just does it for fun.
No, it wasn't him.
Oh.
It was just random players back from like 2009, 2010.
Yeah, but like he's really trying to dodge all the droplets and then get first place, which is really funny to look at.
Oh, it's incredibly funny to look at. Anyway, I think we should probably wrap that up. Zitro, were there any other questions?
Yeah, we have one spoken question coming from Dami, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this episode up, guys.
Excellent.
How you doing?
Hello?
Hello.
Alright, Zach. As everyone knows, Osu can sometimes make you really angry. But how exactly do you deal with that? Did it actually make you rage so much that you broke something because of it?
Well, I have raged in the past many times over Osu. I have never actually broken anything, thankfully. And, lately a lot more, I've just, calmed down a lot. I think it's mostly because I started playing a little over 3 years ago, and I'd say I just wasn't completely matured yet. And as time has been going on, I've gotten angry less and less. While I do still get scores that upset me, I've just not really dealt with it in such an angry way as I used to. Because one thing, when I used to play and get really angry, I would honestly punch my keyboard. But
yeah.
thankfully, I don't really do that much anymore, and I honestly can't even remember the last time I got that angry. And just in general, I just have learned to just enjoy the game for what it is, and while I do get upset sometimes still, I don't lash out in an angry way anymore, it seems.
I feel like as you play, like when you start playing ops, like you tend to be more prone, I suppose, is a way to just like random outbursts of anger or rage.
I'd honestly
as
say
you kinda
that's
Yeah,
more so when you get better is when you would start getting more upset at the game. Because a lot of players, when they first start, they don't really get angry at the game at all because everything is new and they expect to not be able to do that well.
Yeah, but you see, at the same time, like once you start playing for like a few years, you kind of don't get as angry because you kind of find ways to cope with it, or deal with it, or just get around it. I guess is another way to put
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, for me, I just I don't really have a way I get over getting angry. I just move on, I guess. You know,
Yeah,
I
like
maybe sound a little bit angry and say something about it, and then a little bit after that I've calmed down and I just move on.
I think
yeah, do you
in
have fun?
connection, I can ask what makes you angry the most
Probably
game.
getting a 1 miss score on something you've tried extremely hard on.
Yeah,
Always the
or
worst
that.
feeling.
No, I think the worst one is when you try consistently to FC something you know you can pass and you don't. That is worse.
I know that feeling quite a bit.
I think everyone here knows that feeling.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that question, Dami, and thank you so much, Zach, for taking the time today to have this interview with us. We'd like to also thank everybody else that came out and gave their questions as well. Remember, you can follow the OS Talk on the forum thread. You can keep an eye on the Academy YouTube channel. And be sure to check out the finals as we move towards them for the Catch the Beat World Cup, as those will be continuing throughout the weekends. All right. And remember, guys, Rhythm's only a click away, and we'll see y'all real soon.
We'll see you all on the 11th.